Now, as we hurtle towards a future where artificial intelligence is part of our daily lives, should we be asking who is behind the technology and, importantly, what are their motivations?
Author Ellen Broad has taken a closer look at the issue in her new book about the people at the cutting edge of AI, and she joins us now in the studio. Hello and welcome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So tell us a little about, your focus is on the people who design the artificial intelligence. So talk a bit about the influence that those people can have on what the end product is.
Sure. So when we talk about people designing artificial intelligence, I really wanted to make the point that it's not only designers in terms of our engineers, our developers, our scientists who decide what approaches we use, how easy to understand our systems are, but a lot of the systems that we're building now learn from us as individuals, as consumers, as citizens. So we're part of the design process too. We're the data that these systems learn from.
So if you're, for argument's sake, ethically challenged, you could be making this intelligence, this artificial intelligence, ethically challenged as well, which is not great for anybody.
Look, we're only human. I don't know that we can all call ourselves ethical at all times. We do the best we can. One of the points that I try to bring across in the book is quite often the biases, the prejudices that can find their way into our systems are not Machiavellian.
Yeah.
There's no conspiracy.
It's just how people roll.
It's just we have our own viewpoints, we have our own experiences, and they feed into the systems we design.
What does that mean in the longer term? I mean, Stephen Hawking famously warned, that we may well end up finding ourselves at a real disadvantage with artificial intelligence because it would become more intelligent than us. And isn't that the sort of the real threat? That yes, we are all the data that goes in, we are all the designers, but then once they've got all that, they can work out how to use it in another way.
So there's a wide range of views on this. I tend to be a little more in the sceptical category, particularly because the systems that I focus on quite often are what we call probabilistic systems, or they use techniques like machine learning to learn from large amounts of data. And so that's all they have, and it's historic. And so it's really hard to get from that to invention, to something entirely new. One of my fears is that perhaps we will let them take over from us in areas where we fail to see what we bring as humans, what we bring that is novel and quite difficult to program into machines.
Well, so what sort of areas potentially are we talking about there?
So a lot of the areas that I look at in the book are in ways where we're trying to replace human decision-making with algorithmic decision-making. So starting to use machines to make decisions like who gets a job, who gets an application for a home loan, who goes to prison, who goes to which university. And we like to think of these systems as neutral and objective, better than human. But quite often they learn to reproduce the quirks and frailties that make up human decision-making too. And I worry that we won't see it.
OK, so if we can't see it, how do we stop it then? That's the big challenge.
So these systems are made by humans. We decide how intelligible they are. We decide whether we can inspect them. So in the book, I talk a little bit about the need to move away from just accepting the kind of veneer of artificial intelligence and looking for the human fingerprints in that. So things like, in the same way that when you look at your pill packet, when you get your prescription, on the side of your box it says things like, these are the active ingredients, this is the side effects, this is what it can be used for and can't be used for. These are all true statements of any machine as well. What can it be used for? What is its error rates? What has it learnt from? What kind of data is it using? And so we start to look at things like, okay, well, what does transparency of design of automated systems look like? How do we hold them accountable? What regulation would we put in place?
So then the question becomes ultimately, can you design an ethical robot? If you look at that example that if you've got a piece of AI in charge of, say, I don't know, some massive water project, and in order for that to work, you've got a village down the bottom, so, for the greater good, there might be some collateral damage. Can you design something that is able to make those decisions, that puts in a sort of a baseline?
So I think we'll do the best we can. What is ethical changes over time. So one of the things that I was really conscious of is what we shouldn't be doing is designing a system that can't be changed or can't be updated or can't evolve as what we think is ethical evolves. Because the reality is the trade-offs we're prepared to make as humans between the village at the bottom of the valley or perhaps a city in the next kind of province over, that changes as you get different kinds of information, different contexts.
It's a relative problem. Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't think we'll ever solve it with machines. We'll keep trying to do the best we can.
Excellent. Human values.
Yes.
Long may they rule.
Yes, indeed. Ellen, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.